You're watching ABC's Wide World of Sports.
Carp races into Chicago today on the heels of the 500-mile run at Michigan. One of the most entertaining races ever. From the windy city of Chicago, ABC Sports presents coverage of the Carp FedEx Championship Series, the Target Grand Prix of Chicago from Chicago Motor Speedway. Hi and welcome everybody, I'm Paul Page. A week ago you saw a fantastic race. This is a little different. It requires an entirely different set of skills. To be successful here, the driver has to get into the corner and out of the corner if he wants to get around anyone else. Now compare the two tracks last week to this. This one is shorter, this one is slower, but you have to be good to win here. Gary Gerald?
Just last Sunday afternoon, Patrick Carpentier was savoring the glory of his first ever Champ Car victory, and what a scintillating drive from 21st to win the Michigan 500. Today, on a track where it's much tougher to pass, he has a much better starting position. He's 9th, but he may have to work 3 times as hard to get to the front than he did a week ago. Let's go to Jan Vikas.
Gary, Tony Kanaan starts today's race from the pole, but he did have a little bit of help. Castro Neves, who starts alongside, ran out of fuel on his final qualifying lap when it appeared as though he had the speed to take the pole away. Now, Tony knows today he needs much of the same. That is good speed and a little bit of luck. Parker?
Are you looking for someone to cheer for? Try Mimo Gidley. He doesn't have a famous racing last name. He doesn't come from a family of means. 9 years ago, he went to his first kart race, and now, through hard work and unstoppable determination, he finds himself driving for Target Chip Ganassi Racing. Today, he looks for his first Champ Car victory.
And here is the starting grid with Tony Kanaan on the pole and Castro Neves alongside. Gidley's down there in the second row, but when you look through this field, 0.2 of a second cover the first 10. 0.8 covers the entire starting field. Our race analysis: 1 year ago, Cristiano D'Amata scored his very first victory of his career, and he did so in 2 hours and 1 minute. The field already started and begins to form up. The pace lap well underway, and we're ready for a green flag. Tony Kanaan inside, Helio Castroneves to the outside. Keep an eye on Mimo Gidley's second row on the outside. That's Adrian Fernandez inside with a great start. Green. And here we go. We're underway at Chicago as they scream for the first turn. Park comes off one of the cars, and everybody gets past it with no trouble. Course condition stays green. Fernandez battles with Helio Castroneves. Kanaan has the lead. Look at Jimmy Vasser move around on the outside. Down the backstretch, Jimmy Vasser battles for second place with Castroneves.
Jimmy up from 6th to 3rd on that opening lap, still working the high line. Everybody else trying to protect the line down low. Jimmy says, great, I'll just go around the outside of you.
Jimmy Vasser solidly in second now, and begins to hunt the leader, Tony Kanaan. Kanaan, Vasser, Castroneves, Fernandez. Gidley slotted into 5th place. Alex Zanardi is in 6th, followed by Kenny Breck.
Michael Andretti, big move on those opening laps from 17th up to 12th.
Paul Tracy, Max Pappas, also some of the other drivers started well in the back. Pappas and Tracy have moved to 22nd and 23rd respectively. Back from Gidley. Zanardi in pursuit. Get a glimpse from time to time of our points leader, Kenny Breck. There he is, top of your screen, the yellow and white car. Course observers are keeping a close eye on Gidley's car because they believe that what may have come off the car right there in the first corner may have been a rag that came off that car. Now they're not sure, so we're going to look at it again, see if we can figure out exactly what it was. it's already laying on the track. See lower left-hand corner, Parker?
Right there, you can see it was already on the track, didn't come off anyone's car, probably just blew off from the pit lane from earlier.
Yeah, they may have actually gotten caught up in Gidley's car and then kicked free, which is why they reported it that way, but obviously it was on the track before anything happened. Tony Kanaan, he's the leader. Then Vasser, Castroneves, Fernandez. Then a bit of a break. Back to Gidley, Zanardi. There's Kenny Breck. His points lead just slowly disappearing. He now holds only a 3-point lead over Dario Franchitti. Franchitti is currently running in 8th place.
After last week, we saw 6 of the top 10 places in the championship points order change once again. This championship one, which no one wants to lead and run away with, every weekend changing constantly. Kenny Breck, remember, he did so well here last year till he had to stall in the pits while leading.
And an incredible thing happened last week. You may have heard Joe DeFerrin, when he climbed out of the car, refer to his feet being burned. And I found out after the race that there was so much heat buildup in the cockpit that many of the drivers actually suffered blistering burns, legs and feet. And Alex Zanardi, who you see right there, currently running in the 6th place. Zanardi said that he reached down for his water bottle, which he actually keeps under the seat, but he reached for the straw to find a little drink of water about 40 laps into it. He said it was like putting my lips on a cappuccino machine. It was so hot.
The teams measured the cockpit temperature. They said it ranged between 155 to 161 degrees. The 3-inch extension on the back of the hamper device last week created a high-pressure system which moved all the hot air from the engine up through the tub into the low-pressure area of the drivers. Burned hips, lower legs, and feet, suffered by many, many drivers.
And even though it is hot and humid here today, you don't expect that. Here is Breck making his move on Zanardi. And Breck moves to 6th. Winds are off the lake. That's out of the east, about 10 miles an hour. So that means it's behind them as they come down the front straightaway. There's Michael Andretti.
Well, Michael Andretti is another one of those drivers,
Push it under, you're going to 3.
like Alex Zanardi, who was actually treated by Dr. Steve Olvey and the medical staff after getting a hot water experience in his mouth last week. Dr. Olvey told us just before the command to start engines that he's also helped 2 drivers, Helio Castroneves and also Michel Jourdain Jr., who both have severe blisters as a result of what happened last week, and they're trying to give them a little extra comfort for this race today.
Michel Jourdain Jr. has actually been wearing, you'd almost call it a brace, but it's just to protect his heel on his foot, and has been very uncomfortable. Kenny Breck now closing on Gidley. Mimo Gidley, the red and yellow car.
You'll see a slight difference in line between these 2 drivers. Breck comes in almost on a diagonal to the inside. It straightens out his braking area and his downshifting opportunities. And that's how you pass here at Chicago.
So Kenny Breck moves up another position, takes 5th place away from Gidley as he tries to make his way to the front. His next target will be Adrian Fernandez.
And look how quickly he pulled out a gap on Gidley. Very, very different than a week ago. The drivers were flat out in the draft speeds over 240 miles an hour. Here, 190 mile an hour top speed. Hard braking into both of these corners, up to 8 downshifts and upshifts a lap. So a kind of a combination of a road course and an oval, but for someone like Kenny Breck, watch how he squares this off on the way in. Straight line brakes, car's more stable, better braking, better downshifting opportunity.
Tony Kanaan, Jimmy Vasser, Helio Castroneves, they are the top 3. This is the battle for 2nd place, and Castroneves grabs it back away from Jimmy Vasser. Castroneves driving for Roger Penske, Jimmy Vasser driving for the longtime foe, Pat Patrick. Those 2 have battled one another as owners throughout the entire history of this series. Oh, Tony Kanaan has the lead just that quickly. 15 laps are complete. There's the lineup, Honda, and then Toyota on the top 3. And here's the way the start looked from on board with Adrian Fernandez.
At 160 miles an hour, your heart rate triples. At 200 miles an hour, your muscles strain and distend. At 230 miles an hour, it's not uncommon for headaches to begin. And that's just what the crew is going through.
Hey, you're clear, you're clear.
You know, a chief executive is only as effective as the people around him. And so tonight, I see this as an honor for all our people. Their intelligence, professionalism, and their poise.
Want to stop rushing to make shipping cutoffs?
Did I make it? Yeah, you got later pickups now.
Introducing FedEx Extra Hour service. Ship up to 3 hours later and still get it there overnight.
You got a shrimp thing happening in your pocket.
I can't close my eyes. If you do one thing, you've done something. Come see what a Land Rover Discovery is made of.
Trucks. Fundamentally tougher than any panty-waist car. Hey, no one ever wrote a song about his first hatchback. At Craftsman, we figured the only thing better than trucks is racing trucks. So we're the official tools of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Tough trucks, tougher drivers, and the toughest tools. Craftsman.
The Target Grand Prix of Chicago on ABC Sports. Brought to you by, at Target, expect more, pay less. And FedEx, proud sponsor of the FedEx Championship Series.
Well, nothing has changed at the front since we left you. There are the current standings. We're 21 laps into the run now, but Elliot Castroneves is just slowly closing on Tony Kanaan. As a matter of fact, his team, Elio Castroneves' team, said, just take your time. You're reeling in him very well. That rag, by the way, is still laying out in the first turn. Of course, I don't guess a rag can cause a lot of problem unless you bring it up into one of the coolers or up into the air intake system, and then it could be a serious problem. There it is. And here come the leaders through. Tony Kanaan, Castroneves now working him good.
What Castroneves is going to wait for is when Kanaan comes up on the tail end of the field, try to utilize his momentum as Tony needs to lift to try to get through that traffic and make a pass. He's got to be a little patient here. He wants to get a little closer so that he can use that advantage when necessary, but it's only going to be a few short laps before they're into the tail end of the field.
Back in the field, Alex Tagliani just got around Bruno Junqueira. Tagliani, the teammate to last year's winner, Patrick Carpentier. And Tagliani was critical in that win for Carpentier. Really kind of was the point man that cleared the way. Gary Gerald.
Well, there are two Elio Castroneveses here today at this racetrack. One of them, of course, drives car number 3 in second place. The other is his dad, also known as Elio Castroneves. A rare opportunity to watch from trackside in the Penske pit, and he's intently keeping an eye on a monitor as his son stalks race leader Tony Kanaan.
Well, he in fact continues to do that, but Jimmy Vasser has closed up too as we pass through the 25th lap on to lap 26. In fact, Fernandez, Breck, and to some degree Gidley all closing in.
It's interesting to see how different the lines are that the drivers are taking amongst this top four group. You'll notice Tony Kanaan swings out wide when he first enters the corner. Castroneves comes in on the diagonal. He's keeping cooler air through the radiators. He's keeping more air over the aerodynamic devices. Also gives him a little better straight line braking, just like Kenny Breck. Then behind him, you'll see the same style between Kanaan and Vasser, and then between Castroneves and Fernandez.
And you can really see that when you look down from the Honda Helicam. Parker, I'm a little worried about the heat and that rag, or whatever it is down there in turn 1, because if you got that into a cooler, that could fry an engine pretty quickly, couldn't it?
Well, you'd simply have to come into the pits early, have that removed, have the service done, and hope that the yellows fall your way. Right now, heat is a general concern. It's a hot day outside. It's very humid. We had those problems last week with a different variation of the Hanford device. But still, it's going to take its toll on gearboxes and engines. And about this point in the run, the drivers are going to start getting an idea of how their chassis are changing, how the track conditions are changing. We'll see guys moving forward here as others tend to slide backwards.
You're watching the fight for second place as Adrian Fernandez works on Jimmy Vasser just ahead. Castroneves chases Tony Kanaan. In fact, you can see that battle for the lead up in the upper left-hand corner of the screen, now shifting to center.
See, Adrian's up 2 gears, down 2 gears on the way in. Hard braking into the corner. Braking at 1.7 Gs, then experiencing 3.2 his own body weight coming through the corners. You see he keeps the car to the inside to try to get fresh airflow through the radiators and over the wings.
This is terrific. You can watch the whole top 4 battle right here. See Castroneves up there inching in. This next set of turns may be critical for him. Doesn't get him on the entry.
And you'll see he'll manipulate the various rotary dials and the buttons on the steering wheel on these short straights. Be talking to the crew, telling them about whatever's changing in the chassis. You'll also see down here he's got pit speed limit buttons. He's got mixture control buttons at the bottom. But right now the guys are really into a rhythm. They've got the mixture set where they want, boost level set at maximum boost, of course, at all times. Trying to be a little gentle with the throttle on the way in to conserve some fuel, but pushing through the corners as hard as they can.
In the meantime, up at the front of the field, there's Christian Fittipaldi off the pace and turns for the infield.
Just take it easy. This pit lane will be slippery. He's going to change tires, fill the fuel, watch your speed, hit your mark. Nice and easy. Nice and easy. Easy.
33 laps in, and Christian is in the pits.
He was complaining of a vibration. If it's coming through your hands, then you know that you've got a problem with... Usually with the front tire. The bigger concern and what he was suffering from is a vibration from the back of the car. Sometimes that's difficult to isolate. Sometimes it's something as simple as a wheel weight being thrown off one of the wheels. But you can't take a chance. You have to come in, get a fresh set of tires, and see if the problem goes away.
Here are the leaders coming off of turn 2, now closing on traffic very quickly. Helio Castroneves made a move to the inside. He's going to try the same thing going into turn 3. It didn't work over in 1, and it doesn't appear that it's going to work here. Jan Vikas.
Tony Kanaan is told that he can use the button or he can use more fuel if need be. So if he does get pressure from behind from Castroneves, he's got fuel to use. Appears as though he's following their direction. Gary?
And a quick update on Christian Fittipaldi confirming what Parker was mentioning. It was a vibration that he was feeling and just got to be too bad. So they brought him in early and made the stop, and hopefully it will be corrected with this set of tires.
Tony Kanaan still trying to hold off Helio Castroneves. It's the 6th race that Kanaan has led this year, and that includes at least 1 lap on every oval event this year. Two former 500-mile winners, Helio Castroneves for the Indianapolis 500 this year, Tony Kanaan, the Michigan 500, in that great battle with Max Pappas, where Pappas finally ran out of fuel in the last quarter mile of the race and gave the win over to Kanaan.
To make this a 2-stop race, if it's green, they have to go 75 laps. Right now at lap 38, working 39. They're just past the halfway point on this first fuel run.
405, 201.
Well, that's cryptic.
So the crews have a much better idea of what kind of consumption. Wow, look how much faster Castroneves was coming down the inside. He definitely has got this thing hooked up.
He can look inside there, but he doesn't seem to be able to do anything with it.
But now that they know if they've got some extra fuel, they're going to start hitting the overtake button, going to full power. Castroneves obviously quicker coming off the 3-4 complex than Tony Kanaan. It's just now a matter of trying to get this set up, working himself closer again so he can take advantage of that superior exit speed and then try to make the move down into turn 1.
And there's Castroneves with the attempt again down to the inside. But remember, traffic is coming up ahead. Jan Beekes.
Watch the exit of turn number 2 for Tony Kanaan. He's just called back on the radio saying the car is getting loose coming off of turn number 2.
Well, and yet that seems to be where he performs particularly well. Of course, Castroneves, Vasser, Fernandez, as well as the leader, Tony Kanaan. We're going to look at the line speeds for you. Are all looking ahead now because they're closing on traffic. It's taken them quite some time to do that, which again tells you how tight this field is. But very soon they will be into traffic. And once they get there, then how you pace that traffic becomes absolutely critical.
What we're starting to hear over the radio, unlike Michigan, where a lot of guys were happy with their cars and just making very fine adjustments, from Kanaan all the way back through the field, everyone's complaining about handling problems. Everyone's saying, hey, we've got to change front wings, we've got to change tire pressures. So I don't think there's a driver right now, with the exception of maybe Castroneves, that isn't experiencing some sort of chassis problem. The worst problem you can have, like Paul Tracy and the other Team Green drivers had earlier, is an understeer in where you can't carry a lot of speed in because the car washes up towards the wall, and then an exit oversteer problem, which means you can't get on the throttle hard, otherwise the back end steps out. Tony Kanaan complaining of that very problem right now.
Helio Castroneves still almost waiting station. He hasn't really tried to get his nose under Tony Kanaan. Working the 43rd lap now. And there's your top 5. Kanaan, Castroneves, Vasser, Fernandez, and Kenny Breck. There was some great pre-race ceremonies here, including the Supercrossers. A little bit of an air show. It's a great day in Chicago.
We're out of decaf.
Nextel, how business and racing get done. Want to get right through? Get Nextel Direct Connect, the digital two-way radio feature.
By the time a Firestone tire reaches the store, you can be confident. Our 45,000 employees have worked to make it right. And we're not stopping there. I'm John Lampe, Firestone's new CEO. We're making targeted upgrades in the material and construction of our tires. The result? A positive impact on the tire's performance. It's an important part of our ongoing Making It Right plan, because Firestone's commitment to safety doesn't end when you leave the store, it begins.
Are you ready to ask your doctor about Viagra?
I'm ready, ready as anybody can be. I'm ready, ready as anybody can be.
Get ready. Ask your doctor if a free sample of Viagra is right for you.
Well, I'm ready for you. I hope you're ready for me.
Yeah, I'm a flagman, third-generation flagman. I do my best work for the Suzuki GSXR line. Each one is special. The GSXR 600 is agile, aerodynamic, so it's light, like a bird. Like a bird. And the 750 wins everything because it's quick. Like a cat. And the all-new GSXR 1000 is just gonna dominate racing. And all that power and super lightweight, I'm gonna be like... Ah, okay, there, it's my back. The old back. Ah!
Tiger Woods and Annika Sorenstam.
Two dream teams.
David Duval and Kari Webb.
One dream match. Lincoln Financial Group battle at Bighorn. Live Monday night at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Only on ABC.
Morris Green heads the field as top athletes compete at the World Track and Field Championship Saturday at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific on ABC Sports. Well, back at Chicago Motor Speedway, the Target Grand Prix of Chicago, Helio Castroneves did take the lead just about 3 laps ago. It was a pretty smooth move, and Tony Kanaan was doing everything he could to keep it from happening. Now Castroneves is moving through the field. And we'll show you that move for the lead by Castroneves. Now watch Tony Kanaan as he kind of drifted over to the inside. You can do that once, you can't do it twice, and Castroneves used the rag.
Yeah, it was just a little bit of a drift there, defending the inside. He did exactly what we thought. He had a great run coming off of turn 4. Elio looked down the inside, used the old rag method to pass him down the inside of turn 1.
And Parker, what was interesting, when you saw Castroneves juke there a little bit, I think he was being sure that he straddled the rag. He did not want to get that rag in his cooler. Imagine that, making a move for the lead and at the same time being sure you don't pick something up on the racetrack.
Some heads-up racing by Elio Castroneves. Looking a little further back now, Gidley and Breck continue to work with one another, but everything is happening right at the front of the field right now. Look at that, the move again, Parker.
And there's the rag right there, and watch what he does. I think he catches it with the right side tires, actually. He does.
Yeah.
So he goes for right side rag action, flips it up into the air, and now that our fascination for this piece of cloth is finished, we can watch Kenny Breck move up through the field.
I'm not giving up on that. I'm not giving up.
Hey, I'm surprised there's not a logo on that rag. Somebody's missing the boat here.
Well, right now, Castroneves followed by Breck and Franchitti are the 3 fastest cars on the racetrack. Castroneves now clear of Kanaan, starting to extend his lead. He's got 1.8 seconds ahead of Kanaan and the rest of the field.
And well said by Gary Gerald, because it seems like every time you find a little open space, like if you're putting the onboard camera on a car, all of a sudden the logo appears right where the onboard camera is looking, even if it's looking at the underside of the chassis. On board now with Gidley. Just ahead is Kenny Breck. Breck is 5th, Gidley is 6th. Castroneves has now moved out about 2 seconds ahead of Tony Kanaan. And will come a little further forward in the field. There's Adrian Fernandez working on Jimmy Vasser. Fernandez forming his own team this year. Teammate with Shinji Nakano. And there's what you don't want to touch. There's a monster that lurks behind that wall. Catching Jimmy.
Fernandez Racing put together at the beginning of this year a lot to do in a short amount of time. They struggled early, but the last month or so, this team has really come on strong. Adrian Fernandez driving one of the most aggressive races I think I've ever seen from anyone at Toronto a few weekends ago, and now performing very well here in Chicago. Trying to measure up Jimmy, figuring out where he's stronger. Once again, you see the difference in line. Adrian right down on the white line. Jimmy just a little higher, a little wider on the entry.
You're racing Jimmy Vasser, the guy in the orange car in an oval, though. You're racing a guy that goes back to age 6 on ovals.
Back to quarter midgets. I remember seeing the pictures of Jimmy from very, very young of age. In fact, I believe he used to race quarter midgets against Jan Beekes at that time, back in Northern California. Jimmy obviously one of the best on ovals.
Castroneves continues to pull away from Tony Kanaan. There's Castroneves. But Elio hasn't seemed to want too much to work on the back of the field as he closes. Taking his time there. Got a hint of the interval there. Here it is again. Hart issued an interesting bulletin in regards to the conduct of this event. It said that you cannot get your right side tires over the inside white line. Get the left side over, but you can't touch that white line with your right side tires. And I asked, why that bulletin? They said, believe it or not, there are guys thinking about that. The Target Grand Prix of Chicago started off with Tony Kanaan on the pole, and after some pursuit, Helio Castroneves moved to the inside, picked up the lead. Kanaan is now second. Michael Andretti started in the back and has slowly been moving forward, is now in 12th position. Fastest lap done by the current occupant of 5th place, Kenny Breck. It's Castroneves. And it kind of surprises me he hasn't been more aggressive about trying to get slower cars. That's Michel Jourdain Jr. finished third a week ago at Michigan, and I would think I'd want to get around him at least so that I would have one car between me and second place. It's Honda, Toyota at the Target Grand Prix of Chicago. Pit stops will be coming very, very soon here. We'll be back after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
At 160 miles an hour, your heart rate triples. At 200 miles an hour, your muscles strain and distend. At 230 miles an hour, it's not uncommon for headaches to begin. And that's just what the crew is going through.
Hey, you're clear, you're clear.
Tonight, Christina Ricci, Bill Pullman.
I saw a ghost.
Casper, ABC Tonight, 7, 6 Central.
To all the dads out there who work so hard, doing the things that dads do best.
Yes! Yes! Come on, in, home.
Have we got a show for you? According to Jim, part of D-Day Wednesdays this fall on ABC.
77 WABC.
Ron, the evidence is clear. The New York City Police Department is the best police department in the world.
Chris, why don't you tell us what world you're living in, and maybe the rest of us can visit someday.
You decide if I'm the most dangerous man in America or just a sensitive guy.
This is your beacon of free speech. Nobody is talking about the stuff we talk about.
Yankees win. The Yankees win. The more you listen, the more you know. News Talk Radio 77 WABC.
If I look happy, it's because I've got a super night's sleep in my Craftmatic Monaco adjustable bed. I'm also delighted because of the free TV I received. You can get a free 25-inch color TV with the purchase of any Monaco adjustable bed, too. Just call toll-free to receive this free TV certificate by mail. Monaco adjustable beds set a new standard in bedroom luxury. Their fabulous features include this quality, high-density foam mattress, a wireless remote to adjust head and feet, and control the dual variable speed built-in massage. Plus, there's warm, comforting, therapeutic heat. To get your free TV with the Craftmatic Monaco of your choice, just call toll-free. There's no obligation, so don't delay. Call to have your free 25-inch color TV certificate and complete details about Monaco mailed to you right away.
Call toll-free 1-800-423-3232. That's 1-800-423-3232 toll-free. 1-800-423-3232.
A test for a deadly cancer that'll help you breathe easier. Monday at 5.
For our first go out of Spotlight, we want to take you back 1 year ago. Helio Castroneves is leading right now. But last year, you remember this incredible fire? He finally drove it to a stop, but he was out of the race. Right now, he is in the lead. You know, the pit crews watch monitors of the television coverage. I hope that didn't give somebody a heart attack. They saw that at the back of the car.
Well, it's healed itself.
Helio Castroneves now coming up behind Max Pappas. Michel Jourdain Jr. dropped into the pits. What would have seemed to have been 4 to 5 laps early.
And if you've got a very ill-handling car, sometimes you could just see him coming out of the pits there. Instead of risking it and waiting for a yellow, because you might create your own, you just come into the pits, make the handling changes you need to, and then go back out.
Here is Dario Franchitti. Certainly routine here, though they do work the front wing. And look at Fernandez. Fernandez now around Vasser. And here comes Kenny Breck to work on Vasser.
And this oftentimes doesn't mean that these guys are going quicker that are going by you. It just means your car has just lost any sort of handling edge, and you just can't hold on anymore. You've got to move back.
Gidley makes his first stop.
Well, we're watching from about 6 pits up the line, waiting for Castro Neves. Don't see any wing changes all over. 11-second stop for Mimo, and he's back out there.
So first stop now for Franchitti, for Jourdain Jr., and for Gidley. With that stop, Kenny Breck moves to fourth. Here is Michael Andretti. Second car in that team green, what they call a technical partner, Paul Tracy and Dario Franchitti. And Michael is on his way.
Massive front wing changes. You saw the right front tire man cranking on the front wing adjusters.
Now, you would think that Helio Castroneves has some of the fastest laps of this race. Surprisingly enough, the fast laps have been going to Tony Kanaan and to this guy, Kenny Breck.
Those laps happened a lot earlier as Kenny comes into the pits. Tires a much bigger percentage of the overall equation than the loss of weight through the fuel burn. Whoa, right down to 50 miles an hour, we hope.
Michel Jourdain Jr. had the same little kick.
Adjust your brake bias, adjust your weight jacker, pits are going to be open.
Very busy.
Minus 1.5 turns front wing. 10-4.
Like Gary, we're quite a few pits away. We heard Scott Remke resetting the fuel for Kenny Breck. They'll also take wing out of the car. See Brian Herta, Cristiano D'Amata all screaming past.
Clear. Fuel position 10, make it count. Let's go, Kenny. You got a big pack coming right in there. You got to blend in. You're probably gonna...
Fuel position 10, make it count. Now, one thing, we don't know what those fuel positions are. In fact, nobody does. 10 could be the richest, 10 could be the leanest. That's something that the crew sets up for their own as you watch Alex Zanardi come in.
But the most important laps are the in lap and the out lap. The quicker you come in and the quicker you get up to speed, you can jump huge positions on the racetrack.
Jan Vikas.
Now what surprises me as we see Alex Zanardi come to make his service here on pit road is that Tony Kanaan has not been here yet. He led so much of the early going, I thought maybe he would be one of the first people on pit road. And there, a whole bunch of weight, just like Parker was talking about, out for Alex Zanardi.
Gary Gerald.
Helio Castroneves for his first stop. These teams have the luxury of some of the biggest pits on the kart circuit at 45 feet in length. They're staggered to stop. His teammate DeFerrin will be in a moment. 11.9 seconds for Castroneves as he's away. We expect that DeFerrin may be in on the next lap. Then Adrian Fernandez.
Tony Kanaan picks up the lead, followed by Fernandez, Vasser, and now Carpentier. Dario Franchitti comes into the pits. They're now laid out and waiting for Adrian Fernandez, and let's go to Jan Vikas.
And right in front of where Tony Kanaan is going to stop right now, Paul Tracy getting his service. No dramas today. Remember, last race, his first stop was 50 seconds. Today, it's 12.6.
It's amazing to watch the brake dust pour out of these wheels when they make the changes, an indication of how hard they're using the brakes.
First and second place are both into the pits. Gary.
Adrian Fernandez right on the marks. He will be making, or they've already made, a tire pressure change by about a half pound. Right in front of him, Gilles DeFerrin wheels into place. They make a wing change as well for Fernandez as we check with Jan Vikas, and Adrian pulls away.
Tony Kanaan getting his wing change. Only took one turn out of the front wing. 11.8. Nice stop for Tony Kanaan. He gets out ahead of Fernandez.
Well, Tony Kanaan leads the drag race coming off of pit road, but Jimmy Vasser, this car, picked up the lead. Then he came into the pits. His teammate at Patrick Racing, Roberto Moreno, now has the lead. Jan.
A few pits away from where Kanaan stopped. Now we see Jimmy Vasser. Again, wing changes at the front of the car. So far, everybody getting their car tweaked. That was fast for Jimmy Vasser. 12-1.
And Roberto Moreno will be on the pit road here shortly. There he is. And that will... Jan?
Watching Moreno stop as well. We've seen a lot of good pit stops up and down pit road. One thing about being after a 500-mile race, these guys have a lot of practice. No changes on the front wing for Moreno. 12.4, so he and Vasser within 1/10 of a second of each other.
So Moreno is out. Scott Dixon, the rookie winner of Nazareth, picks up the lead. But Parker, we're keeping an eye on the backstretch. There you see Scott Dixon. It seemed like Kanaan was slow coming up to speed.
Looks like he missed a shifter, had some sort of problem. Everybody bunched up behind him. He drove as aggressively as he needed to keep them behind until he corrected the problem, got back up to speed.
So here is a car that has not yet stopped. And if you remember, this particular game for Pac West Racing, Scott Dixon's team, really paid off at Nazareth. They played the strategy. They stayed out. He continues to stay out. He's been 66 laps, or excuse me, 86 laps since he's been into the pits, 87 now. And Brian Herta, Gary Gerald, has had a couple of problems.
Yeah, he got a pit speed violation call, and we are told now that he's using second gear to control his speed on pit road. So that would seemingly indicate that he may have a problem with the rev limiter, the control device that locks him in at 50 miles per hour. That could be a problem for the rest of the afternoon if they can't clear it up.
Okay, Parker's focusing on this guy, Scott Dixon. Now, he's been back in the field for some time. That hopefully works to his advantage, and he's making some fuel. Now, finally, at nearly 90 laps, he's coming into the pits.
Well, if he gets a yellow at the right time, this could be a one-stop race for him.
Here we are. Watch your speed.
No yellows yet.
We're going to take a full load of fuel.
Here's Jan.
Well, I would say it'd be a full load of fuel considering how long he's been out on the racetrack. It took a long time for the air jack to come up. Now that won't hurt you as long as you get it done before the fuel. 12 flat. So that's a 12-second stop, and the tire changers only had about half that time to change the tires. Well done.
And now?
Think about that, Paul, though. If he gets a yellow at the right time, this could be a one-stop race for Scott Dixon. Same sort of strategy, as you mentioned, that helped him win Nazareth. But that wasn't a fluke. We've seen this young man at the front many times during the course of the season just because of his aggressive driving skill.
The lead given over to Elio Castroneves, now followed by Kenny Breck, Dario Franchitti, and Gidley. Zanardi is fifth. Then Kanaan, Fernandez, Carpentier, and Andretti. This is Mauricio Guzman, who had a big hit on Friday. Slammed the turn one wall, but he's okay. He said he had a bruise, but he's doing just fine now. Here is Cristiano D'Amatis, the defending champion, stopped just a few laps ago. We'll be back.
Where does courage begin? In the body, the mind, or in the heart? At American General Financial Group, we're here to help the ones who never give up their dreams with retirement services, investments, life insurance, and consumer loans. So courage is crowned with the greatest victory, to live and be well and be happy. American General Financial Group. Live the life you've imagined.
That was so cool. Way to end the day. Let's celebrate.
Okay.
One apiece.
Where's Steve? Enjoying the great outdoors? Grab a Miller Lite. It's Miller time.
Don't drink my beer!
From the quarter mile at St. Louis to the third turn at Talladega to the pits of Laguna Seca. Wherever innovation is the margin between win and lose, the pros reach for the same tools you do. Craftsman, the official tools of CART, NHRA, and NASCAR.
can't close my eyes.
If you do one thing, you've done something. Come see what a Land Rover Discovery is made of.
What does it take to terrify the biggest names in Hollywood? 2 words.
Final answer?
What?
No,
I'm scared to death. I'm so nervous.
I'm sweating bullets right now.
They're back.
Somebody just yell it out.
That's a tough one.
Good Lord. Millionaire Celebrity Edition starts tonight, 9/8 Central on ABC.
For your chance to win a ride in an Indy car and an all-access pass to next year's Indy 500, watch the Indy Kentucky 300 August 12th at 1:30 Eastern on ABC.
You're watching ABC's Wide World of Sports.
Welcome back to Chicago, over by the lakefront. Soldier Field reminds us that, yep, the NFL preseason begins on ABC. St. Louis Rams and the Miami Dolphins, the AFC-NFC Hall of Fame game, next Monday night at 8 Eastern on ABC. Well, no changes for you since we've left here at Chicago Motor Speedway. Helio Castroneves is the leader, followed by Breck, Franchitti, and Gidley. When we look at the pit summary, you can see that Franchitti was incredibly helped. In fact, got up into that 3rd place by a very, very good stop. Kenny Breck as well. The other side of that coin is that Jimmy Vasser dropped 8 positions, down in 11th place now after the first round of stops that started on lap 73. And Gary Gerald, we understand one of the crew members required some medical treatment.
Yeah, Paul, on the Shinji Nakano crew, David Jancourt, who was working at the end of the car, has been taken over to medical. Doesn't seem to be a serious problem. Apparently, his shoulder on the left side popped out somehow in one of the movements, so he was in some discomfort, but he was smiling and talking to the crew as they took him into medical for some treatment. David Jancourt working on the rear of Nakano's car.
Well, boy, he'll be back on the line quickly. There is a report now from course observers that Max Pappas might be displaying a little smoke. He is just ahead of Kenny Breck there on the course. Here's Christian Fittipaldi, who's running slow again. That's Michael Andretti coming up to overhaul him.
Big difference in speed. Michael finally gets around the outside. You can see Chris. Well, that's it. With all the shifts that they're doing, we saw Mimo earlier not making 8 shifts a lap, but with the 7-speed gearbox in the Lola, he was doing 4th through 7th. Christian also with a Lola, checking his mirrors there, just trying to hang on, soldier around, but you can see how people are now having to go around the outside with that gearbox problem.
Well, there's where that real-time telemetry comes in. The crew knows what's happening before it happens. They tell him that the gearbox is going. Helio Castroneves. That's Max Pappas just behind him, and then 2nd place, Kenny Breck. Jan?
You've talked about how Kenny Breck picked up a lot of spots on the pit stop. Now he's called on the radio, even though they took out some front wing, it's just the car is getting loose again. So Kenny Breck still doesn't have the balance that he's looking for, but he'll have another stop to get it fully corrected.
Castroneves, Breck, Dario Franchitti. Yeah, this is going to scramble those points again. Seconds back from this car is 3rd place, Franchitti. So Breck and Castroneves have a little breathing room. That interval up to Castroneves from Breck is 1.2 seconds. We'll show you Franchitti now.
Dario Franchitti with that great drive last week, trying to prove to everyone that he's just not good on the street courses and the road courses. His engineer, Ian Watt, was Cristiano D'Amato's engineer last year when Cristiano got that first kart win. The 2 Scotsmen now working very well together on all sorts of the kart tracks.
11th place from up in front back to 11th for Jimmy Vasser. Gary, what happened on the stop?
Just talking with the spokesman for the Patrick team, Kevin Diamond, telling us that apparently, even though Jimmy stayed out the extra couple of laps, that cluster of cars that did pit in front of him all got serviced and got away cleanly, and so that by the time Vasser made his stop and got back out, he just lost the track position. He didn't gain enough in the pits in order to protect that spot that he had. So just a tough break, it appears, for JV.
Oh, and that was costly, too. 8 places he lost on the pit road. Castroneves, Breck, Dario Franchitti, Gidley, Zanardi, and Kanaan are full sitter, and early leader is now in 6th place. So the Target Grand Prix of Chicago with these 5 at the front. Honda, Ford, Honda. Then a Toyota and another Honda. Yeah, it doesn't much matter about the age. The toys are all the same. Helio Castroneves earlier today.
At 160 miles an hour, your heart rate triples. At 200 miles an hour, your muscles strain and distend. At 230 miles an hour, it's not uncommon for headaches to begin. And that's just what the crew is going through.
Hey, you're clear, you're clear.
You know, a chief executive is only as effective as the people around him. And so tonight, I see this as an honor for all our people. Their intelligence, professionalism, and their poise.
Want to stop rushing to make shipping cutoffs?
Did I make it? Yeah, you got later pickups now.
Introducing FedEx Extra Hour service. Ship up to 3 hours later and still get it there overnight.
You got a shrimp thing happening in your pocket.
You could say racing is our life, but when you really get down to it, safety is our life.
Literally, one of the more important pieces of safety equipment is the tires.
So it's really important to take great care of your tires.
To inflate and rotate, to keep them performing safely.
That's why Firestone put together a free brochure on proper tire maintenance.
Because safety is always the most important thing.
No matter what you're driving.
Question about DirecTV? Yeah, I hear this thing hits like an insane amount of sports channels. That's what I want, sports 24/7.
Hey, hon. What's up?
You're absolutely right, sir. With DirecTV, you and your family can enjoy wonderful educational channels together.
Here's the pitch. I'll let you guys talk.
We know how you feel, and that's why we're here, Circuit City. We're with you.
Educational? Really? Yeah. Huh.
We learn about other cultures by experiencing what they do.
With the pottery, it's giving us another aspect of people's lives.
You could learn a lot more from actually doing it than reading a book.
Some kids dig in with both hands. This is the power of learning.
Well, we just crossed the halfway point with no caution periods and only one car out. And then all of a sudden, Michel Jourdain Jr. lost it about halfway through turn 1. He didn't touch anything, but it, of course, brought out the yellow flag.
Well, he didn't touch anything because as the back end started to step out, he just stepped on the throttle, spun the car back to the inside, and kept it off the wall. Watch Gidley on the outside trying to figure out where that smoke and what it contained. It contained Gidley, or Jourdain rather. Gidley missed him. It was very, very good. Now watch on board from Jourdain. Comes down, completes the downshift. Says, whoa, that's a throttle. Please, no one hit me, please. Mimo, could you go around that side? Thank you. And that worked out just right. Now, on board with Mimo. Oh, that's not good. He'll spin to the inside, right? Oh, it says that in the racing books I've all read, but there's enough room out here. Oh, man, I lost a couple positions on that deal. Thanks, Michel.
And so Michel Jourdain Jr. Suffers only maybe some bald spots on the tires, no contact with the wall, but it does bring out the first yellow of the run here in the Target Grand Prix of Chicago Motor Speedway, which the remainder of the year also has thoroughbred racing. They actually cover the inside of the track with dirt, and then it goes back to being much like the old Sportsman Park that it was. There is Michel Jourdain Jr. He's moving slow. Gary Gerald?
Christian Fittipaldi, we understand you were having drivetrain problems of some sort. Can you tell us what the conditions are like and maybe compare it to what you experienced last Sunday on a totally different kind of speedway.
Well, it's completely different. Last Sunday you're running like flat out all the time, and you're running in top gear. You downshift very little. Here you're downshifting twice every lap. You have to come off the power and go back on it, and the difference of speed compared to last weekend is huge. Here our cornering speeds is about 130, 140 miles an hour. Last weekend it was about 215, 210 miles an hour.
Any warning? How long did you know that you had this problem, or you tried to baby it around before you had to retire?
Yeah, I tried to bring it in before we had a huge problem like we did last weekend when we failed. It was a damper. Then the car started catching fire, and basically I went straight into the wall. So there's something wrong, like in the gearbox. I tried a couple of laps, and then I brought it in.
Thank you, Christian. Pits are about to open, Paul.
Yep, Gary Gerald. In fact, the Players team, Jerry Forsythe's team, is laid out. So has Team Cool Green, owned by Barry Green. Chip Ganassi's Target team. Shinji Nakano's team is ready for him. And the Patrick Racing team is also ready for their car. So now they're on the pit road. We'll see where this takes us. Gary Gerald.
Dario Franchitti was near the pit entrance. A lot of other cars streaming by. His teammate Michael Andretti cuts into the box in front of him. But again, with the luxury of the extra 5 feet, it gives these crews and drivers a little comfort zone. And it was used very nicely right there. Michael Andretti now roars away.
But the one car that stays out is the leader, Elio Castroneves. Also staying out is Kenny Breck.
And I'm watching the order as they leave pit road. Jimmy Vasser, also Scott Dixon, Paul Tracy, Moreno. So quite a few guys, but interestingly not the leaders. We were standing by with Kenny Breck, and they said they were only going to pit if Castroneves did. Of course, Castroneves didn't hit pit road. They're following the leader right now.
I love the strategy, though. I think that's the last stop for those guys. Remember last time, Scott Dixon was able to go 89 laps, considerably farther than anyone else.
Yeah, but what is Roger Penske doing? Bobby Rahall's team. We'll be back after this message and a word from our ABC station.
I can't close my eyes. If you do one thing, you've done something. Come see what a Land Rover Discovery is made of.
Woods and Sorenstam.
2 dream teams.
Duval and Webb.
1 dream match. Lincoln Financial Group battle at Bighorn, Monday night on ABC.
He's America's #3 best-selling self-help guru. He's helped millions with his books, I Know More Than You, and I Still Know More Than You. He's Bob Patterson.
The only thing standing between you and your goals is you and your goals.
Bob Patterson is coming to ABC Tuesdays this fall.
Nobody covers news like ABC 7 Eyewitness News. We're in your neighborhood, on your street. We're your eyes, your ears, your voice. From the heart of the city.
Live in Brooklyn, live in the Bronx.
Communities all around.
Long Island.
Westchester, Connecticut, New Jersey. Nobody covers news like ABC 7 Eyewitness News. Nobody.
If I look happy, it's because I've got a super night's sleep in my Craftmatic Monaco adjustable bed. I'm also delighted because of the free TV I received. You can get a free 25-inch color TV with the purchase of any Monaco adjustable bed, too. Just call toll-free to receive this free TV certificate by mail. Monaco adjustable beds set a new standard in bedroom luxury. Their fabulous features include this quality, high-density foam mattress, a wireless remote to adjust head and feet, and control the dual variable speed built-in massage. Plus, there's warm, comforting, therapeutic heat. To get your free TV with the Craftmatic Monaco of your choice, just call toll-free. There's no obligation, so don't delay. Call to have your free 25-inch color TV certificate and complete details about Monaco mailed to you right away.
Call toll-free 1-800-423-3232. That's 1-800-423-3232 toll-free. 1-800-423-3232.
A test for a deadly cancer that'll help you breathe easier. Monday at 5.
Yeah, there's Helio Castroneves, but look who's in front of him. Just in the last lap as they came back for green, Kenny Breck and Alex Zanardi both were able to get around Castroneves, who did not stop in that round of stops. And now Kenny Breck has the lead. We'll show you the restart.
Watch Max Pappas coming off the fourth corner. He's got a great run on Castroneves. Castroneves trying to be defensive. Max says, I don't care where you're driving, I'm passing you. He gets his lap back with that move. And then watch Kenny Breck.
It doesn't get any closer than that. Kenny Breck with a little wiggle coming off a 2. Takes the lead, and then Zanardi makes his move. And Zanardi picks up second place. So the entire complexions of things change here, and Kenny Breck is exactly where he wants to be as the points leader of the series. He'd love to notch this as a victory.
Gives him the opportunity to control the pace of the race a little better. Now that they've had the opportunity for that one pit stop quite a long ago now for these lead cars. Remember, they didn't come in on that last round of pit stops. They're lighter on fuel. They've got more tire wear. And it's going to take all the way down to 9th place with Dario Franchitti. That's the first of the cars in the second group that have now made 2 pit stops.
Gary Gerald.
Paul, just prior to the initial attempt to restart, when you saw them wave yellow, Helio Castroneves and the Penske team were told that he had brought them in too hot, and they were apparently accordioning up behind him. That's a bad use of the word, but I think you know what I mean. But then, is it possible, I'm wondering, that maybe he just got snookered because he brought him in slower the second time, and the opportunistic Breck jumped on it?
Well, we're going to have to wait until the end to find out the answer to that. But yeah, when they bunch up like that, that's an interesting possibility. Here's Kenny Breck.
During the restart, that's his teammate Max Pappas on the left side going down inside Castroneves. Now Castroneves had to get out of the throttle. Kenny just dives down the inside, splits the white line as a big moment on throttle coming out. Checks his mirrors, makes sure the drink hose is in his helmet properly, and says, that was fun.
Oh, what a good catch that was. Ray Hall team in the front. Second car in that, of course, Max Pappas. What's going on, Jan?
Well, it was a great bit of teamwork. Remember that the teamwork played against them at the last race in Michigan. They may have had the 2 fastest cars on the racetrack. They took each other out with only a few laps to go. Today, we wondered, would there be any animosity between the 2 drivers? Well, I think what we saw from Max Pappas there, that was a great team move. The whole Ray Hall team was just jumping up in the air cheering. They love to see that happen.
And he pulled the leader down toward the inside on the first turn. His teammate went around on the outside. Speaking of teams, in second place is Alex Zanardi, his teammate at Morris Dunn Racing. Tony Kanaan is sitting back there in 4th place behind Helio Castroneves.
Zanardi started the race in his best position so far this year in 5th. Been a lot of talk about the resurgence of Alex Zanardi, and now we're seeing him back at the front. Mo Nunn Racing Team obviously getting a good handle on the setup this weekend.
And when Max Pappas was making that move, he was really just trying to get a lap back. He currently runs 20th, but both he and Breck have been running the fastest laps of the race in the past few laps. 129th fastest to Pappas. He also turned a quick one on the 124th. Gary Gerald.
Tim Cindric on the restart. We heard that race control warned, well, I don't know if warned, but told Helio to slow it down. Did that cost him then when they did go green?
Yeah, he obviously had trouble getting the power to the ground, and I think on the first restart it was just really the same as the second. The starter just didn't recognize it. He didn't have much to say on the radio, but he was obviously having trouble getting the rear grip there on the restart. So.
How worried are you as a result of that? You still think you've got the car that can do it?
Well, obviously it's a track position game, so it hurt us on that front, but we've got a really good car, so we'll see on this last stop what happens.
Thank you.
And to make all of that clear, they restarted while we were away, and they came around once, they threw the green but instantly pulled it and went around one more lap and then finally got the restart that we have shown you from several different points of view. It resulted in Castroneves dropping from first to third. Here's back at the front. Swede Kenny Breck scored his first victory and then immediately another in the series this year. Currently is the points leader by 3 over Dario Franchitti. We mentioned those the aborted restart and then the start itself. We'll show you the one that they actually waved off, the one that Tim Cindric, the president manager there for Penske Racing. Here it is. And the green for just a second and then immediately back yellow.
Okay.
Well, they did bunch.
Well, really, the pace is determined by the leader. It's his field to control and to start. Castroneves came off the 4th corner. Everyone was in line. Jim Swindell, the chief starter, didn't see what he liked, threw the yellow, and they tried it once again.
Look back at the field here. There is Patrick Carpentier, currently running 6th place. The winner a week ago, his first victory after 79 attempts at winning in the series. Very likable young French-Canadian. Always a bright smile. And that smile has not left his face during this week past.
You know, what's great to see during the course of this weekend is as Patrick walked through the paddock, the number of crew members, hospitality people, and teams come out and congratulate him for his victory. A very, very popular victory last week at Michigan.
You know, and that's a valid point as we go back with the leader, Kenny Breck, that while they are all adversaries on the racetrack, team to team, driver to driver, as soon as the racing is done, it's a very close and friendly community back in the paddock. Kenny Breck, still our leader.
At 160 miles an hour, your heart rate triples. At 200 miles an hour, your muscles strain and distend. At 230 miles an hour, it's not uncommon for headaches to begin. And that's just what the crew is going through.
Hey, you're clear, you're clear.
On your left, the Queen Mary. Beneath our wheels, very streets over which will thunder the Toyota-powered Target Chip Ganassi racing cars. These cars develop such intense velocity that they would literally suck the manhole covers from their holes if they weren't welded down. On our right, buildings.
Chuck, it's Rennie. I'm stuck. Call me back.
Rennie, we're doing shadow puppets. Call me.
Chuck!
Rennie.
Call me back.
You just left me a message. I'm not gonna touch my phone. Call me.
Tired of phone tag? Get Nextel Direct Connect, the digital two-way radio feature that lets you get right through. So instead of reaching Chuck's voicemail, you can actually reach Chuck.
I've been racing for 36 years. There's one thing that I've learned. Racing is all about trust. Trust in your crew, trust in your car, most importantly, trust in your tires. We race on Firestone. They're committed to building quality tires. Because whether you're going over 200 miles per hour or just going home, it's all about trust.
For your chance to win a ride in an Indy car and an all-access pass to next year's Indy 500, watch the Indy Kentucky 300 August 12th at 1:30 Eastern on ABC.
That's the rule you don't break.
Get in!
Daddy?
Now! Who do you work for?
Alias, coming to ABC Sundays this fall.
Our second Toyota Spotlight takes you back again just 1 week. Our current leader here at Chicago, Kenny Breck, and his teammate Max Pappas on the 233rd lap touched tires, takes them both out of the race. And then today, Max Pappas helps his teammate by blocking the way and bringing Kenny Breck forward and around Helio Castroneves to take the lead of the race, which is where he currently sits. Kenny Breck currently the leader, followed by Zanardi and Helio Castroneves. Now tomorrow night, ABC Sports brings you 4 of golf's greatest players in a one-of-a-kind primetime event. Tiger Woods and Annika Sorenstam team up to face David Duval and Kari Webb in an alternate shot match play tournament, the Lincoln Financial Group Battle at Bighorn. That's tomorrow night live at 8 o'clock Eastern on ABC. Man, that'll be good, too. Kenny Breck, Zanardi, Castroneves, then Kenan Fernandez, and 6th place is the rookie Tora Takagi.
He's made steady progress all through the race, was down in 18th place, and immediately started passing cars one at a time coming up through the field. Remember, back at Milwaukee, he had that run-in with Jimmy Vasser when he was a lap down. Hasn't deterred him from being aggressive, and there we see him right up behind Adrian Fernandez, driving a very steady, very, very nice race.
Drives for the Derek Walker Racing Team. Team that also fields Sarah Fisher in the IRL. Boy, she is a popular driver. Takagi has come on the scene quietly.
He won the Japanese 2000 Formula Nippon Championship last year, which is the equivalent of Formula 3000. Has recorded lots of victories in Japan. Was also one of the Arrows F1 drivers and drove for Tyrrell back in '98. So he's got F1 experience. He's adapted to the ovals very nicely. Essentially, he just sees them as 2 high-speed corners. He said high-speed corners, like Bruno Junqueira in this way, are where I always exceeded my competitors on road courses. And now he's trying to figure out how to work on Adrian Fernandez.
And while we were in break, Patrick Carpentier came into the pits, in and out, dropped into 20th position. Here's your list of the last pit stops and when they stopped. We've seen a car go as far as 86 laps. That was Scott Dixon before he had to refuel. Distance here is 225 laps. You do the math.
And it's going to involve aerial refueling, I think, if you're going to try to do this without stopping again.
Well, what they're looking for is that one yellow flag that might help them out. Here is Jill DeFerrin, the defending series champion. On the pit road, this is the 152nd lap. Gary?
Roger Penske on the wall will guide him in on the radio, and here's Jill DeFerrin now. A lot of brake dust as he comes to a stop. You can see it blowing from the rear of the car toward the front. Wing change up front. Looked like 2 turns. Had to move a hose at the back, but they still got him out in 10.2. I wonder if they went for the short fill.
Now, Penske Performance Service, Max Pappas is already in, and Jan Beekes is there.
And a bit out of sequence, we would have expected Max Pappas to go a little bit longer. Huge clouds of brake dust coming off the rear in particular. Front wing change. Boy, taking a long time for the fuel. 12.3 for Max Pappas. Always takes a little longer on your second stop.
Max Pappas out on brand new tires. He's a lap behind the race, down in 20th place right now. But let's think about that. Let's compare those 2 stops. Look how long it took for Pappas to fuel and how long it took for Jill DeFerrin to refuel. Did they short fuel that car for DeFerrin?
Left turn of front wing.
I think Gary's got it right. I think they short filled.
8 more left.
They short filled DeFerrin. I think Pappas took on all the fuel. A little bit of pit strategy, trying to gain track position, depending on one more stop before the end of this race.
You're hearing Scott Repke talking to his driver, Kenny Breck, as you ride with Kenny Breck, the leader of the race. Brian Herta makes his stop.
Working the lollipop, Brad Miller, the center for the Chicago Bulls. That rather tall individual there you see in the top right-hand side of your screen.
Hold on.
I don't think that was Brian's radio. But it's interesting if they short fill here, Paul. I don't know how they'll get to the end. If they stay green, then they should be able to have this stop as their last stop. So just doing a little bit of...
Okay, fuel and time.
Toward Takagi.
Nice and steady.
To the Walker pits, Jan.
You hear Derek Walker on the radio. In Michigan, they had some air jack trouble. Has not seemed to be a problem today.
Good.
Again,
70 laps left to go here. 70 laps left to go. Get ready.
All right, there you see the fuel in the tube, 11.8. And it's just, I'll tell you, standing behind the car when they wait to launch, it's cool.
So Tora Takagi back. We're on the 158th lap. Kenny Breck, you heard the discussion with what they want to do with that car when he comes in. Breck, Zanardi, Castroneves. Then as you see it, Canan, Fernandez, Franchitti. So as Kenny Breck puts another lap in the record book, once again we get to go on board.
L2.
Meaning 2 laps to pit. So we're on the way to Kenny Breck to keep an eye on him.
Man, I love those steering wheels. They're so cool. All the information on the wheel now.
Now, considering how much they cost, you can hear over the audio going into turn 3 a telemetry burst.
How much would that be?
Ooh, $35,000 to $50,000 depending on the unit. Very busy time now for the driver. He is absolutely on the ragged edge here. You've got to judge your braking.
Brake bias, adjust your weight jacker. Pits are wide open.
From 140 down to 50. Brake bias, weight jacker, anti-roll bars, resetting fuel, and now going from asphalt onto the concrete, hitting the marks perfectly. This could be the race-deciding pit stop for Kenny Breck.
And going to Jan Bikas.
And when you're talking about resetting brake bias and resetting the fuel, that's because when you add the weight of the fuel,
-1 turn of front wing.
the car does brake differently. We will watch to see that 1 turn of front wing. Wow, a lot of brake dust here.
Go. Fuel position 10. Fuel position 10.
11.8.
I want you to go fast. Come on, let's go.
Kenny Breck kept the lead as he crossed the line in the pits. Now Alex Zanardi comes in from second place. Castroneves picks up the lead. Routine so far, good stop.
Big adjustment on the front wings.
They're taking the full load of fuel. Took him 12 seconds to do it. 3/10 later, he was on his way. So the new leader of the race, once again, is Helio Castroneves, and he's followed very closely by Tony Kanaan.
Follow up with an explanation on the driver adjustable brake bias. As Jan said, the weight changes, the center of gravity shifts as the fuel burns. When they take in 35 gallons of methanol, a little over 200 pounds, that's biased more towards the rear, so they can dial in more rear brakes, get all 4 brakes front and rear to do a more even job of slowing the car down. As the driver uses fuel, they have to start slowly bringing more brake bias or using more front brakes than they do rear, so they don't lock the rears as they come into the corner.
And just a note, look up there, upper left-hand corner, 8th place is Jimmy Vasser. Remember, on the first stop, he lost 8 positions. Shows you how close it is. Helio Castroneves peels off on the backstretch. Turns down onto the pit road on the 166th lap.
Speed limit, pump your clutch, Helio.
Goes for the Penske pits. Gary Gerald's right there.
Helio Castroneves received his Indy 500 championship ring this weekend. He's been wearing it so proudly. Doesn't have it on right now, though, in the cockpit of the car. Adjusts his visor. No wing changes, just waiting. Fuel is in. He's gone. That's a dandy. Just a fraction over 10 seconds.
You can see he slid right up to the wall, really squeezed the left side tire guys in the fueler, leaving them very little room. That's why they hold those lollipops out. The guys are supposed to put the nose of the car right in the center of the lollipop. Castroneves a few feet to the left as Tony Kanaan comes in.
Kanaan picked up the lead when Castroneves pitted. Fernandez moves to second place, followed by Franchitti and Gidley. And now Kanaan on the pit road.
One of the things about pitting this late, Paul, puts a lot of pressure on the crew. They know this can make the difference. So many other people have been on pit road and made very quick stops with no dramas. We saw a turn come out of the front wings. It's still on the jacks, though. A little different technique, but still a very fast one. Gary?
Waiting now for Adrian Fernandez, the only owner driver in this series. Puts it in perfect position. The fueling process begins. The changing of the Firestones, everything seems to be routine. No aerodynamic wing changes up front. Tap on the back of the fueler. And that was about an 11 flat stop right there. Another good action.
But as he comes out of the pit, Stereo Franchitti flashes past to pick up the lead of the race, followed by Gidley and Dixon.
Well, that's it now. The entire field has pitted. They were out of sequence coming into this last pit stop, but now everyone should be able to make it to the end. Franchitti, Gidley, Dixon, top three.
Stereo Franchitti, who last night told me he had a very raceable car. He wasn't real happy with his qualifying, but he thought the car would be perfect for race day.
You know, a chief executive is only as effective as the people around him. And so tonight, I see this as an honor for all our people. Their intelligence, professionalism, and their poise.
Want to stop rushing to make shipping cutoffs?
Did I make it? Yeah, you got later pickups now.
Introducing FedEx Extra Hour service. Ship up to 3 hours later and still get it there overnight.
You got a shrimp thing happening in your pocket.
What the heck is going on down here?
Am I in the right place? I thought it would be harder.
How is this possible? Wow, Jim Young actually bought a round?
Jim!
Thought you'd never see the day? Grab a Miller Lite. It's Miller time.
It's a little hot under here.
Hot? That is nothing. The Toyota V8 in the PacWest Champ car burns a gallon of methanol every 30 seconds. It's pumping out 100,000 BTUs a minute. That's enough heat in one race to keep your bedroom warm all winter.
I said it's hot.
Oh, I know.
Are you ready to ask your doctor about Viagra?
I'm ready. Ready as anybody can be. I'm ready. Ready as anybody can be.
Get ready. Ask your doctor if a free sample of Viagra is right for you.
Well, I'm ready for you. I hope you're ready for me.
More riders. More classes. More championships. More than ever. Suzuki. Rising stars to superstars.
This Wide World of Sports update brought to you by Mobile One. Nothing outperforms Mobile One.
And in this Mobile One update, we want to remind you that the NHRA is racing out on the Pacific Coast in Seattle. And out there, John Force is looking for his 100th Nationals victory. After qualifying, they were looking this way with Gary Selzy with a 4.51.12, John Forrest a 4.827, and Bruce Allen in Pro Stock with a 6.821. That'll coverage of the NHRA will come up later tonight on ESPN2, the prolonged Super Lubricants Northwest Nationals final elimination. Well, back at Chicago Motor Speedway, Dario Franchitti picked up the lead, and Parker, you've done some recalculating.
Well, you know, I've always swore that I'd never do math in public, but I keep violating that primary rule. It turns out we had a whole group of guys that had come in on lap 117 and lap 118, and that group is, well, you can see them there, the no pit all the way down to Junqueira. Brack, if this thing stays green, Kenny Brack will end up taking the lead back, followed by the rest of the gang. So these guys, Franchitti, Gidley, Dixon, Tagliani, Vasser, etc., they can't make it to the end without one more stop.
And so what they need is a caution.
A long yellow. But to confirm that, at least for the Pat Patrick, which would be Moreno and Vasser, they say at the current pace, they'd be on pit road at lap 200.
So they indeed would need a long yellow in order to make it to the end.
The view down now from the Honda Helicam as you watch Dario Franchitti flash past the signs on the outside of the track. And Gidley just behind him. You catch him from time to time. That red and yellow car behind Franchitti. Franchitti has really had a great run since Milwaukee. Look at this. Comes from 49 points behind to a mere 3 points behind just since the 1st of June. Now, based on the way they sit right now, Franchitti would take over the lead of the points battle. Of course, we have a great deal more to run, and for many, one more pit stop to run.
Which will bring Dario right out of that championship points lead. But in 5 of the last 6 races, Dario Franchitti has finished in the top 10. 3 of those races, he's been on the podium, 1st or 2nd place. Remember that great from last place to 1st place drive at Cleveland, 2nd place last weekend at Michigan by a nose over Michel Jourdain. But he has to pit one more time before this race is over.
9 of the points positions in the championship battle would change if this race were to finish right now as they sit.
That's been happening almost every weekend. We've seen 5, 6, 7, 8 positions in the top 10 changing. This championship hopefully will go down to the last race. And like years past, remember just a few years ago, we had Dario and Juan Montoya tied for the championship after the season finale at Fontana.
Oh yeah, not just the last race at California Speedway, but the last lap of the lap race. Now that is a championship. The look downtown, the Loop of Chicago, still 24 cars are running here. Only one out. Dario Franchitti is the leader. We'll be back after this message and a word from our ABC station.
Will we win? Hopefully. Will we lose? Maybe. Will we learn? Definitely.
Records are made to be broken. America's fastest man, Maurice Green, at the World Track and Field Championships, Saturday, 4 Eastern on ABC.
My name's Rita.
Rita, yeah.
I'm a thief, Johnny, just like you.
You make an excellent team.
John Stamos, Melissa George. Thieves, Fridays this fall on ABC.
If I look happy, it's because I've got a super night's sleep in my Craftmatic Monaco adjustable bed. I'm also delighted because of the free TV I received. You can get a free 25-inch color TV with the purchase of any Monaco adjustable bed, too. Just call toll-free to receive this free TV certificate by mail. Monaco adjustable beds set a new standard in bedroom luxury. Their fabulous features include this quality, high-density foam mattress, a wireless remote to adjust head and feet, and control the dual variable speed built-in massage. Plus, there's warm, comforting, therapeutic heat. To get your free TV with the Craftmatic Monaco of your choice, just call toll-free. There's no obligation, so don't delay. Call to have your free 25-inch color TV certificate and complete details about Monaco mailed to you right away.
Call toll-free 1-800-423-3232. That's 1-800-423-3232 toll-free. 1-800-423-3232.
77 WABC.
Ron, the evidence is clear. The New York City Police Department is the best police department in the world.
Chris, why don't you tell us what world you're living in, and maybe the rest of us can visit someday?
You decide if I'm the most dangerous man in America or just a sensitive guy.
This is your beacon of free speech. Nobody is talking about the stuff we talk about.
Yankees win. The Yankees win. The more you listen, the more you know. News Talk Radio 77 WABC.
Survivor 1 versus Survivor 2.
The big Survivor hour.
Next, Rosie.
Maurice Green hits the field as top athletes compete at the World Track and Field Championship Saturday, 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific on ABC Sports. Well, boy, did things change. You're now riding with a new leader. Gidley is out in front. 193 laps are complete. He's followed by Dixon Tagliani. Now, what happened? Dario Franchitti and Michael Andretti both came into the pits. Remember, the impression was that they were going to stay out much longer, but Franchitti suddenly pulled into the pits, as did Michael. Franchitti took on what appeared to be just enough fuel to get him to the end of the race. Michel Jourdain Jr. just spun the car at the pit entrance.
Yeah, that's not right. You never want to be looking that direction on an oval. Came up right against the pit wall. You can see it looks like there's damage to the right front there.
But the course remains green. So Franchitti made his stop. And then on the way out, he had a pit speed violation. They black flagged him, gave him a drive-through penalty. Report is that the pit speed limiter on Dario's car wasn't set exactly right. In fact, his team manager, Kyle Moyer, last night was making to the point that if the pit speed limit is 50, you don't want to set it for 48.8 because you're going to lose pit positions. It's got to be dead on accurate. And Michael Andretti, when he came in, well, his day was done. Apparently something in the engine room. And then there was Jimmy Vasser who came in. Jan Beekes?
Well, remember the team had just told us that he could go until lap 200. Well, they were telling us the truth because Jimmy could go to 200, but then the car got loose. So they figured, why not come on to pit road and make a pit stop to improve the handling? And it was a 9.1 second stop because he didn't need all the fuel. Kugelman, by the way, will be on the pit road this time by.
We're doing fuel only. We are not going up in the air. Be ready to go.
Oh, boy. Gonna keep the same tires on.
Okay, let's go. We're clear out. You're clear to the outside. We got to make all of this count now.
Scott Dixon picks up the lead.
We're good to the end. We got a big chance here, buddy, so let's work on it.
And Jan said that they may come early in case they have a handling problem, which is absolutely correct. The other thing that the team managers and the spotters look for is that if you're going to come in anyway and you catch a big group of cars, you might as well pit at that point as opposed to getting slowed down or trying to work your way through that traffic. So you might be able to go farther, but if you know you have to make just one more stop, you pick and choose that time based on the handling and also the current traffic that the driver's up against.
And we'll go back and show you, though we are still under green, what happened to Michel Jourdain Jr.
Coming into the pits, looking back. You stand on the brakes here, downshift to get down to 50. Oh, ooh, man, that really smacked the inside wall.
Gary Gerald.
And here's the end result as you look at the right rear, the crumpled suspension. They're trying to get the quick lift underneath so they can move the car. Michel, what happened? Were you coming down through the gears and it just get away, or did it lock up?
I don't know, since when I spun in the track, I don't know, both times it got me. It was like the rear tires just locked up. There was a very bad vibration in the car both times, and I was fighting through it too. Because the car was on the brakes, the rear was really bad, so...
Oh, car spinning over in 1-2. And that
spin
is the teammate to our leader. It's Mauricio Guzman. And it looked like a lot of fluid on the track, like it might have been more than just a simple little spin. Safety team is on its way out there. Here it is, Parker.
Well, looks like he had help there from what I could see. Whoa, that was close. Looks like they just got wheel to wheel, and he got turned around with that contact.
And Roberto Moreno on the pit road. He was already there, Jan.
Yes, he now burns out. We look to see Scott Dixon on pit road, as well as Mauricio Gugelmin. If they can get him back, they're going to give him a fresh set of tires and send him back to battle.
And that we thought was fluid is that white that is down. It's really oil dry from earlier in the day. So it just was that he had a little help in this spin.
Looks like he certainly did. We couldn't identify the pack of cars that came through there at that particular time, but it looks like they just had wheel-to-wheel contact. Back of the car stepped out, looped it back to the inside. Some nice evasive driving by the trailing driver.
And so the pace car out. It picks up rookie Scott Dixon. As you see Roberto Moreno on the pit road for the second time.
And there's smoke in the cockpit, I believe, Paul.
Put some water in it.
So this is a little hectic. As one of the safety crew from the track comes up and looks like he just spraying Moreno with water. You said in the past, though, the Parker, that isn't the world's greatest idea because all that's going to happen is that water is going to heat.
Absolutely. We're seeing Roberto fan his face. If he's got a methanol spill or a problem, we'll have inhalation problems here, and it really stings your eyes. But he's not climbing out of the car. Remember years ago, Robbie Gordon had a similar problem at Long Beach. They filled the cockpit with water. He got back in. It was kind of the world's fastest hot tub at that point. Roberto Moreno chooses to stay in the car and goes back on the track.
Here's what happened to Mauricio Gugelmin. Brought out this yellow. This time we're going to ride on the right side of the car. Didn't touch anything. Just came down across and onto the pit exit road.
See him shifting down all the way to the front of the sequential gearbox to get it neutral. He just didn't get the clutch in quick enough to keep it running.
In exactly the same place, Gugelmin had a very hard hit here on Friday. And we want to take you back and show you that. And watch especially his knees during this spin. It's the subject of our Toyota Spotlight. Happened here on Friday. The Big Mo.
Coming into turn one, completes the downshift, back in, steps out. Oh, 127G impact. The Hans device he was wearing was cracked, but better the Hans device than Mauricio. Took the brunt of the impact, bruising his left knee as it was slammed up against the bottom of the steering wheel. He was very sore, but ready to race today.
It looked like Tony Kanaan got a great view of that one that he did not want. Tony Kanaan now down in 10th place. Helio Castroneves is in 9th. It's Dixon, Tagliani, and Breck at the top of the field. We are still under yellow flag. Speaking of battles, tomorrow night ABC Sports brings you 4 of golf's greatest players in a one-of-a-kind primetime event. Can you imagine this? Tiger Woods and Annika Sorenstam. They team up and will face David Duval and Kari Webb in an alternate shot match play tournament. The Lincoln Financial Group Battle at Bighorn. Tomorrow night live at 8 Eastern on ABC. So with the yellow, Scott Dixon, the leader, comes in. Tagliani is in 2nd place. He's in, Gary.
And Tagliani has the very first pit as the Forsyth Players team goes to work. No tires. This will just be topping them off with fuel. It's complete. He goes away in 9 seconds, Jan.
They are going for tires for Scott Dixon. Try and give him some additional grip. I'm watching Tagliani. Oh, well out in advance. 9 flat. And then you can see Tagliani come in behind.
Well, Scott Dixon comes out ahead of Alex Tagliani. He crossed the line going into the pits as the leader of the race. We'll be right back.
At 160 miles an hour, your heart rate triples. At 200 miles an hour, your muscles strain and distend. At 230 miles an hour, it's not uncommon for headaches to begin. And that's just what the crew is going through.
Hey, you're clear, you're clear.
Where does courage begin? In the body, the mind, or in the heart? At American General Financial Group, we're here to help the ones who never give up their dreams. With retirement services, investments, life insurance, and consumer loans. So courage is crowned with the greatest victory. To live and be well and be happy. American General Financial Group. Live the life you've imagined.
For the first time ever, the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety subjected full-size pickups to their crash test, a test performed at even higher speeds than those conducted by the government. In the end, only one earned the highest overall safety rating. Toyota Tundra. When we say better from the ground up, we mean a lot better.
From the quarter mile at St. Louis to the third turn at Talladega to the pits of Laguna Seca. Wherever innovation is the margin between win and lose, the pros reach for the same tools you do. Craftsman, the official tools of CART, NHRA, and NASCAR.
You gotta believe. Believe in a kid. You can do that. Help him believe in himself. Be a mentor. Call this number. It's easy. We'll tell you how. Put children first.
This Wide World of Sports update brought to you by Mobile One. Nothing outperforms Mobile One.
This mobile update is brought to you, concerns the support series for championship auto racing teams. And a bit earlier today, here on this mile oval, the Toyota Atlantic drivers were in competition. Brazilian driver Hoover Orsi got the victory to kick off the second half of the season, holding off Todd Ave for the victory. The Indy Lights season, of course, is the weekend off. Their next action is coming up at Mid-Ohio in 2 weeks. And one of the young drivers of that series, currently 6th in points, is Dan Wheldon for the Pac West team. He's here in the Mauricio Gugelmin Pac West pits watching the monitors. Just saw Mo have that spin. He's hoping he'll get his chance to step up to the champ cars in seasons ahead. He's currently 6th in points, chasing Townsend Bell. They'll be at Mid-Ohio in 2 weeks, and we'll be there to call it.
And here at the Chicago Motor Speedway, even with the yellow that we're in right now, they're running at a record pace. The record was set by Montoya in '99 at 122 miles an hour. They're at 131 miles an hour right now. Here's the pit summary. Started on lap 196, 15 to go. Pace car already off the course. Kenny Breck bringing them very slowly into turn 3. Now he picks up the pace.
Whoa, look at this bottleneck.
Oh, no.
Looks like Dario got high and wide, couldn't get on the power.
Everybody looks for racing room. It looks like Junqueira's in real trouble, but so is Gidley.
See Dixon go flying both past Gidley and Bruno.
Gidley just trying to find space to accelerate off of the corner and onto the backstretch.
Now remember, Gidley didn't take on new tires the last time he stopped, but Scott Dixon did. Dario still having problems coming off the corner, but look at Scott Dixon.
And Scott Dixon down there on the inside. Franchitti a lap down. Fred Carpentier, de Ferran. Those are the front three. Dixon trying to close on third place, de Ferran. 213 laps complete.
Kenny Breck out now, 4.3 seconds. He just took off.
Breck did exactly what he wanted to do. He slowed the field down and then suddenly jumped on it at the acceleration point, an agreed upon point. Nothing illegal, nothing improper. But then you got that whole group bottling up coming off of 4 after Breck had already taken the green.
Kenny Breck so fast here last year, stalled in the pits. Otherwise, the race would have been his and went on to Cristiano D'Amata. Watch the restart now. Dario up wide. Look at Carpentier down low. Bruno the sandwich. Look at DeFerrin on the inside. Gidley gets boxed behind, and Dixon says, well, I'll just drive around both of you guys.
It was really Junqueira coming back to the green that caused most of the trouble there, as he struggled to get it back to full speed.
Breck now 4.7 seconds ahead of Patrick Carpentier in second place.
10 laps to go.
Jimmy Vasser, the second car on your screen there, is a lap down.
Kenny Breck won his first race this year, then immediately won his second. +5. Now looking at a possible third, but you can hear Scott Remke as they carefully manage the fuel. He's changed fuel positions now twice since they've come back to the green.
That second place there, Patrick Carpentier, but look at Scott Dixon coming right up behind DeFerrin. He's telling the boys at Pac West over the radio, I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna make this pass stick. The series champion, though, is not gonna let that happen easily.
And the 21-year-old rookie doesn't seem to be too intimidated by anybody around him. Very cool, steady head. Like so many of them, his total focus is on racing. Ask what else he does. He says, I work out, I race.
And once again, he qualified 19th position. Pac West, with great strategy, has put him at the front, but it's Scott Dixon's driving that is keeping him there and moving him even farther to the front. Remember those laps at Nazareth? Kenny Breck, the fastest guy all day long, but he couldn't get past rookie Scott Dixon, who drove a brilliant race in the closing stages of Nazareth.
You heard the call to Scott Dixon, 6 laps to go. Kenny Breck out in front of Patrick Carpentier. Boy, it's going to be a second great race in a row for Carpentier, almost no matter what happens. We'll show you the interval. You saw the leader. Here comes Carpentier, DeFerrin, and Dixon. That's tight.
The last 3 laps, DeFerrin and Dixon have turned laps within a few hundredths of a second of each other. So Dixon not making any ground on Gilles DeFerrin. Carpentier complaining of a loose car, but digging down deep and driving great laps here at the end. He's just marginally slower than DeFerrin and Dixon, but they're not making up enough of an interval with the laps left to reel him in.
With 4 to go now, the leader Kenny Breck is on the backstretch, but he does have traffic in front of him. The good news is that he also has Jimmy Vasser in between his lead position and second place Patrick Carpentier. Then this battle, DeFerrin and Dixon. Carpentier is just a few yards ahead of DeFerrin.
Breck now out right at 6 seconds now from this group of Carpentier, DeFerrin, and Dixon.
Breck into turn 3, now on top of traffic.
Kenny Breck, he's been on the front row 5 times this year. Won a couple of races on the ovals.
Breck moves around Bruno Junqueira. That's the traffic, and now there's plenty of it in front of him. 2 to go.
He's had some bad luck the last few races. This is exactly the kind of race he needed to extend his championship lead.
+5. Still managing fuel as he comes to the white flag. Kenny Breck, 1 lap to go. Looking for his 3rd career win. Breck on the backstretch. Battle for second place remains about the same. Carpentier, DeFerrin, and Dixon. Kenny Breck on the front stretch. And Kenny Breck has taken it. Great job. And it's Carpentier, DeFerrin, and Dixon. Second, third, and fourth. Jan Beekes.
With Scott Remke. Scott, is this vindication on what happened last weekend in Michigan?
I just think it shows how the strong Team Rahaal's become. The bounce back from what we had in Michigan. Max drove through the field, scored points. Couldn't be prouder of this group.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So a very happy Team Rahal. Co-owner Dave Letterman's going to be celebrating too, and when we come back, we'll be talking with our new winner.
You know, a chief executive is only as effective as the people around him. And so tonight, I see this as an honor for all our people. their intelligence, professionalism, and their poise.
Want to stop rushing to make shipping cutoffs?
Did I make it?
Yeah, you got later pickups now.
Introducing FedEx Extra Hour service. Ship up to 3 hours later and still get it there overnight.
You got a shrimp thing happening in your pocket.
Hey, Alex.
Hi, Michael.
After you.
Oh, no, after you.
No, I insist.
Thank you.
Competition. Most of the time, it brings out the best in us.
Hey, thank you someday.
Look, we got a lot to do today, so let's make this quick. Get what you need. We're out of here. Agreed?
Yes.
Kevin!
We know how you feel, and that's why you can shop online and pick up at a nearby store the same day, or we'll ship to you. Circuit City, we're with you.
I think that went really well.
Tiger Woods and Annika Sorenstam.
Two dream teams.
David Duval and Kari Webb.
One dream match. Lincoln Financial Group battle at Bighorn. Live Monday night at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Only on ABC.
One has a career Grand Slam. The other shot a 59. Kari Webb and Annika Sorenstam, two of golf's best at the Weetabix Women's British Open, Saturday on ABC.
The Target Grand Prix of Chicago on ABC Sports. Brought to you by, at Target, expect more, pay less. And FedEx, proud sponsor of the FedEx Championship Series.
They know how to celebrate a victory at Chicago Motor Speedway. Confetti, daytime fireworks, everything. The sky almost completely occluded with the confetti as Kenny Breck, unofficially, but it looks awful good, has taken the win, followed by Carpentier and DeFerrin, then Scott Dixon, as we show you the unofficial results throughout the field. Gary, it's noisy down there, isn't it?
It is very noisy down here. Second in Nazareth, a win in Milwaukee, a win here. What makes you so strong on mile ovals?
It's a car. It's shell forward. It runs like a dream. It's like stealing candy from children with its car around 1 mile oval.
Now, tell me about when you got your first lead and you went down inside Castro Neves and you got two wheels almost down in the grass. How close were you to losing it?
I wasn't really close. I've been practicing a little bit of that since that was allowed, so it came to good use in a race.
So that was strategy? That you were saving that for an opportunity?
Yeah, I practiced that this morning.
Now, you've protected the championship points lead. How big to get this lift in terms of momentum, because you've been kind of struggling and the guys have been sneaking up on you?
Yeah, it's up and down for most teams. The series is so competitive. There's so many great drivers and great teams. It's just an honor to be drawn for Team Ray Hall to be able to get more victories than the others, and hopefully that'll carry us to the championship in the end. We'll see, but we got to win. You know, you got to win to get the championship.
That's the third one this year. Great job, Kenny Breck.
Thank you.
So Kenny Breck has taken the win at Chicago Motor Speedway. The Forsyth Racing Team had a good day. So does Penske. Castro Neves coming home in second. And Frank Keaty, Michael Andretti, and Jill DeFerrin there. Those are the points we're looking at.